So after seeing the Cyberpunk 2077 demo, what did I think? And keep in mind the footage that I'm using here, I've kind of magnified it a little bit, and you should go back to the original video if you haven't seen it. It's very impressive. But what did I think? Is this a game that would interest me? Yeah, definitely. Is this a game that I think that Star Citizen could become in the open world? Yeah, possibly. Just, I think it's going to take a little time. Now, all joking aside, I think that, comparing Star Citizen to Cyberpunk 2077 is not fair. I think a more accurate and direct comparison would probably be Squadron 42 and Cyberpunk 2077. Now, add into that the fact that I keep wanting to say Star Citizen. Squadron 42, of course, has a flight engine built into it. It has space combat and all of that. Those are layers of complexity that Cyberpunk does not appear to have. So I don't think that, looking at the state of Squadron 42 and looking at the state of, Cyberpunk, especially since both have been in development for so long, to sit there and say that Squadron 42 is so far behind, I don't think that that's entirely fair. I mean, we don't have the full picture because Squadron 42 of course is something that has been, very tightly held. We found out a lot about the Star Citizen universe overall, but the actual game, Squadron 42, we do not know all that much about it. But I think that in all fairness, if you look at the Cyberpunk demo and then you go and you immediately watch the Squadron 42 single player demo that we got last year, you'll find that they're both in a very comparable state of completion, though of course, obviously, Squadron 42 has the addition of flight through the universe, and it is, on a much grander scale than a single city or what appears to be a single city in Northern California. Do I feel that, when I look at it that way, let me put it this way. When I look at it that way and when I look at it objectively, I'm not altogether dismayed by the state of Squadron 42. I have a feeling that we're going to get a big exposition, hopefully at CitizenCon, something to kind of, show people where things are at. That has always been, I think, one of Star Citizen's Squadron 42's biggest problems has been the fact that it has always been so tightly held, and very little of it has gotten out to us. We don't really have an accurate picture of where it's at, and so that has always been somewhat worrisome to the community. And also we found out over the years that there are certain pieces to Star Citizen that Squadron 42 needs, and there's certain pieces of Squadron 42 that Star Citizen needs, so both of these have to kind of go hand in hand as they're being developed. And, they can hold each other up while they're trying to move forward. So it kind of brings us to a question, and this is a question that often gets asked and answered and argued about on Spectrum, everywhere. Was it a mistake to develop two games at once? Yes, it was. I think it's fair to say that yes, it was. It was kind of... It might have been a good idea had the scale of both games been smaller, and I don't mean in terms of the overall size of the play area, but I mean in terms of the vision. Had it not turned out as grand as it did, I think that we would probably have a Squadron 42 in our hands right now, though it probably wouldn't be anything compared to the Squadron 42 that we are going to get. Though, in all honesty, the Squadron 42 that I will probably play very little of, just because, once again, it's a single-player game on rails, and that's not something that really interests me. An open world game interests me a heck of a lot more, where you kind of build out the story yourself rather than kind of going like, oh, here's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It doesn't really interest me. Now, I don't intend to belittle or, kind of make people think that, oh, I think that anyone who plays that type of game is stupid or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. It's simply a case of different strokes for different folks. I generally prefer open world, open-ended games. I don't enjoy kind of negotiating my way through a story, I kind of feel that when you have the freedom of an open world, you just kind of make up your own story. And that's kind of what I do in a lot of MMOs, is I kind of create characters as though I'm creating characters in a book, sort of. So let's say, like, if I take my orc warrior, I kind of think, okay, what would his backstory be? What should he look like? How, what should he do? What should his role in the game be? And I kind of create them as though I were creating literary characters. And it's not so much a case of playing what I like to be, it's more playing what I like to see type situation. And, when you're kind of playing within the constraints of a story that kind of just says you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do the other thing too, I don't really overly enjoy that all that much unless I get a certain amount of control within that environment, and I can just say, you know what, I don't want to do the next mission. I want to hop in a shuttle and I want to go down to this planet and I want to do a whole bunch of stuff and I want to solve a bunch of crimes and maybe steal some stuff and then go do this other thing over there, and then maybe I'll check in with you in maybe a month or two to advance the single player storyline a couple of chapters, and then I'll just go, no, I'm going to go do my own thing for another 5-6 months. I told this story once when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I had still, even to this day, I have still never finished the single player campaign because I keep switching over to GTA Online and just doing my own thing, right? But Cyberpunk 2077 kind of, because there is that certain technology aspect in it, because there's that certain amount of, there's going to be hacking, there's going to be engineering, there's going to be different ways to solve problems. And certainly we saw that in the Squadron 42 demo, when you go and you pull the APU or the battery unit out of the lifter and then go and place it into the control panel so that you can operate the elevator to get down to where the person is being held hostage in the demo. You certainly saw that. When I saw that those kind of aspects, I kind of thought, you know what, I should watch this and I should probably get into it a little bit, just because there may be certain, touchstones or certain pieces that I can pull from this when I'm talking about Star Citizen and say, hey, you know what about a system somewhat like this system? That sort of idea. When, recently I was asked about the hacking systems in Star Citizen, one of the viewers asked me, what I thought about the hacking systems and what the capabilities of certain ships were going to be. And I kind of thought about that video. I was like, man, I don't know what to say, because I know that we've got some basic info on hacking in the Star Citizen universe, but it's a system that is just completely undeveloped. It's just not there, right? Like, we go to a satellite and you get this little thing that says hacking and a little wheel turning saying you're hacking. I doubt that that's about as far as they want it to go. I think they want to have a much more in-depth system, but that once again requires resources and time, which I feel that the team just has very little of to spare. So this is probably something along with data running that keeps getting pushed to the back of the line, because there are more important things that they need to do. And as some of those things kind of go over their time budget, this is one of those things that is, it's allowed to slide because there are other more important parts, core parts of the game that are, ahead of it in line and have to be dealt with first. So in the end, I think that definitely I'm going to purchase Cyberpunk and I'm going to play it, but I'm going to play it probably very much the same that I played Deus Ex. I'm going to play it just to get into the hacking system, get into the technical systems, and goof around within that game and see what the possibilities are, and then just use that as kind of information and ideas that I can use for videos, in regards to Star Citizen. I don't think that I'll ever finish the single player campaign in that game, because I never do. I never finish those games that are on rails. I mean, even Deus Ex from 2012. I believe it was 2012 when it came out. I went and I found a guide, you know, oh, go here, go there, go do this, do that, and you can get your hacking way up really early in the game, and then you can use that to kind of ghost through all the levels. And that was enormously interesting to me, right? And I got way into that. So I was going around doing all this, you know, extraneous extra stuff right in the beginning of the game just to get my hacking to this amazing level. And then as soon as I got to that point where I was hacking through all the different terminals and doing all this different stuff, I was like, wow, this is fun, this is interesting. But as soon as I got back into the story and started progressing through the story, I kind of fell out of it, and I was like, yeah, this isn't interesting. I want to just go do open world stuff, and I want to hack all these gang safes, and I want to sneak around and do all this like ghosty type shit, but I can't do that because, you know, gotta go to chapter 3 or chapter 4, and I was like, nah, it's not interesting to me. I just want to have an open playground where I can develop these skills and then just go out and use them all over the place. So I think I'll definitely check it out and see what's what, and just use it as kind of like a touchstone to talk about things in Star Citizen with. But I don't think I'll ever play it very seriously. I know some people will be very disappointed that I said that, but it's just the way that I am, you know? It's just the way that I am. But I have high hopes for Star Citizen. Hopefully someday. Hopefully. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.